have y'all here because you guys get to meet Frank Guerrero.
Who am I?
Who is Frank? ¿Quién es Frank?
Hardworking individual. My parents immigrated from Nicaragua, so I'm originally from Nicaragua. We immigrated into this country when I was 4 years old. We went to Miami, Florida, where I studied in Miami. And that's really when my love for law enforcement came in. I was intrigued by a professor in criminal justice who introduced me to a Police Explorer program, which is a program for youth through the Boy Scouts of America, and we got to ride along with police officers. So that just changed my world completely. I mean, that's all I envisioned was to be a police officer. And let me tell you, one of the most genuine experiences is meeting people that I've never met before, or maybe they saw my video, or they saw the campaign, or they're seeing, oh, you're the one running for sheriff. And look, my son and I were eating at one of the local restaurants the other day, and a gentleman came by and said hello, and said, good luck, Frank, give him hell. And then his three sons, well, I assumed I found out later it was his three sons, they came over and said, so I stood up, I shook their hand, I put my hand on their shoulder, and they're like, good luck in your race for sheriff. I said, oh, thank you so much. So I looked around and I saw that his dad had sent him to wish me luck. And you have no idea how humbling that was. It was extremely humbling. And I said, do any one of you guys want to be police officers? And one of the little boys said, I do. I said, you know what, son? I promise you, you might not understand what the sheriff does, but I promise you this, that I will pave the way so when you graduate high school and you get formal education, you come back and we have a good job for you. And let me tell you something, you're gonna love being a deputy sheriff.
Well, you're a little boy and you're riding in the car, and what exactly was intriguing? Like, what part of it was something that just sat with you? But they also need to understand that this is a deep why.
God, protection. It was the ability to help somebody, protect somebody. Even from when I was a little boy, and that's just something that from very young, and same thing with my mother, I was always very protective of my mother, as I am protecting my children now. So it's that sense of protection and the ability as a law enforcement officer to go out into the streets and receive calls for service and be able to, and I call them now, as I've matured and grown, problem solvers. So have that ability to, whatever the issue may be that the person is facing at that moment in time, we're put in a position to actually make a difference. You could steer them in the right direction by a simple advice. Your presence alone makes an impact. So that sense of protection is what really has driven me, to be honest with you. The ability and the opportunity to lead some of the best women and men that I've met. I grew up here in the sheriff's office. I grew up in the sheriff's office, and what I mean is, as adulthood, I was able to promote, I was able to open my business, I was able to teach the concealed handgun license. I was able to do so much because of the sheriff's office. My friends now, my compadres, people that I barbecue with, people that I hang out with, people that we exercise with, from the sheriff's office. So that ability to lead them and build on the experiences that I've had as a business owner and build a security team and security force in New York, in Nicaragua, here, to bring that to the sheriff's office, it's humbling and honor and in itself is an honor. How do you lead? You lead from the back? What are you gonna do from the back? You lead from the front? No. You lead right alongside of them. I would never ask somebody to do something that I've never done. I've proven it with my security officers. I've never had a job site that I myself would not cover myself. I wouldn't. I would not, send a security officer to where the conditions are not there, the basic conditions are not there for that person to be safe, that person have an ability to use the restroom, or have a way out. If I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't have my security officers do it. Same thing with our deputies. I would not ask them to do a task, do a job that I wouldn't do myself. In this particular case, I have been a full-time police officer. I know what it is to live paycheck to paycheck. I know what it is to work for that paycheck. The current sheriff is not. He's not. He's never been a full-time police officer except when he was elected constable and now sheriff.
What are those things? Like, you as a businessman, what were those things? What is that unique experience that you're going to be able to take that and bring over to the sheriff's office?
My grandma always told us, I remember my sister got her master's degree. We all went to college. My brothers would come home and with our bachelors. And my grandma sat us down with us. I'm real proud of you. I'm excited. Oh, man, this is great. But, she said, the day one of you come home with a double doctorate from the University of Life, then let's sit down and have a conversation. So, and that stuck with me. So formal education is extremely important. I would never, extremely important. But life itself teaches you a lot. And obviously, growing up, working hard. I remember my dad telling me, when I started my business security, I wanted to start my business security, my dad said, son, you're gonna knock on one door. When one opens, you knock on 100 more. So that spirit of wanting to help and thrive and keep going, and don't let the naysayers or don't let obstacles stop you. I mean, that's what's driven me. So, and I appreciate the fact that I don't base the success in the numbers and the dollar values. And I want to be very clear that what I feel differentiates me about any other candidates running is that I don't have a financial need for this. I'm genuinely doing it because you're talking about a dream of a little boy to being a police officer. And I share that, I'm sure that's the same dream of many, particularly people who go into law enforcement. It's not something that you go to school and say, I'm gonna do this. No, it's gotta come from within. And in my case, I truly, it's something that I passionately love. There's nothing to me, there's no greater honor than wear a uniform, wear a badge, what it represents.
You wanna give us a little insight of where the gap is and how you can fill it?
Definitely, Giselle, and I think it starts with the mentality and the reason why you're doing this. I didn't get up one day and say, I want to be sheriff, or I have to be sheriff. No, it came from a void to where we've had, and as I mentioned before, we've had negative aspects to the sheriff's office. The more we look, and somebody told me when this time around after the first race, he said, you know what, you've won more than you lost. You just don't see it. And the recommendation was follow the money. Follow the money. When somebody's given an opportunity, you got two directions to go. Either you grab it, you embrace it, and you want to do what's actually good and move on. Or you grab it, you embrace it, and it's mine. You can't take it from me. It's mine, and you're going to do everything you can to keep it. That's why it starts with the mentality and my thinking and my true desire to actually serve. And like you've mentioned, and I'm immensely grateful for, you're right, I'm not doing it for the money. But when our deputies are not being taken care of, they're not being put in the forefront. When our deputies, our detention officers are not at all, we have the highest turnover at the jail. When our detention officers are not given the proper training, when they're not given the proper stature, look, this is your involvement that you give to the community. Like my team said, hey, Frank, we have this image of you. We understand that. You walk into a room, you're going to command the respect. And people, obviously, the nature of the evolution of your business.
And they can Google you, and they know you're successful.
They do, absolutely. And I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. But my goal is to let people know that I am a human being. I am a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm in a healthy relationship. And my biggest responsibility is to share my enthusiasm, my knowledge, build on my experiences, and keep people safe.
And live a child's dream.
Oh,
you have a dream, Frank. You have a dream.